All right, we are ready to go. First person is Willie from Indonesia. Willie, how are you?
I'm good, Ajahn.
You have any questions?
Yes, I have two questions today. The first one is currently I'm wearing this white clothes and with a shaved head. So some people might think that I'm an ordained Meiji, especially when I stay in a monastery. So they might treat me like an ordained Meiji, like inviting me to join monks invitation meal, or some people might offer me some dana. So should I change my clothing to avoid people's misunderstanding, or I just ignore what people think about me?
I don't quite get your question. What's the problem?
Because I'm wearing white clothes and with my shaved head, so some people might think that I'm an ordained Meiji, although I'm not officially ordained. So especially when I stay in the monastery, people will even more think so and like treat me as an ordained Meiji. And some people might offer me some dana or ask me to join a monk's invitation meal. So should I just change the clothing so people might not misunderstand me as an ordained Meiji, or I just ignore what people think about me?
Just tell them. If they think you're Meiji, just tell them you are not. You're just Upasika keeping the 8 precept.
Okay.
Which is the same thing, really. Well, the Meiji also keep the 8 precepts. But I guess in the conventional terms, they might separate Meiji from the lay Upasika in the sense that Meiji is like an ordained person living in a monastery. And while an Upasika is still a householder. Maybe that's the difference. So I shouldn't worry about it. It's when the time comes for you to tell them, just tell them that you are not a Meiji. It's like when they think you are Chinese and you say, no, I'm Indonesian.
Okay.
Shouldn't be any problem. Just tell them the truth.
Okay. Thank you.
I don't know. It's up to you. It's your life. So I don't know how it's gonna work in real time. Whether you can just tell them or you, I don't know. It depends on the situation, I guess. How you're gonna deal with it. The thing is not to get your mind disturbed. That's the important thing. Okay.
Okay. Another question is sometimes when staying in a place which has been left for quite some time, there will be a lot of cobwebs. So usually I don't dare to clean the cobwebs. I'm afraid I will kill the spiders. So usually, how do we deal with the cobwebs?
Just do it softly. Use the broom and just softly clear the thing. It won't hurt the spider. They're too smart for you to kill them.
Oh, okay.
As soon as they know that you're moving the web, they run away. They're not stupid enough to let you with a soft broom killing them. And if you don't hit it hard with the cobweb, you just gently just remove the web. I don't think there should be any problem.
No. Okay.
Is that all?
Yes, that's all.
Okay.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Suchart from Silver Spring, Maryland. Good evening or good morning to you and your kids.
It's good morning. It's morning here. You're right. So what I'm about to ask is a lot of times when questions come to my mind, I actually I can kind of play this game. I say that I say that let me see what Ajahn would say as an answer. And before I ask this question, I would say that probably his answer would be to me that don't worry about such things, just go and do your practice. Now the question is that you always say that we need to go into the good concentration states so that we realize that we have something we can go to which does not need material things to be happy. So this is the place you want to be, and once you are there, then you will see that you don't need this body, you don't need the material possessions, and you will see that as a personal experience really. Now what I'm thinking, that there are lots of teachers and expounding on Dharma, and or people who are learning about Dhamma, has particularly who has the intellectual bent, they will kind of academically analyze, superanalyze the thing. Now, it has good points to it, yes, but where do those people actually go to find the recluse or place or space where they see that the material things are not that important? There is another space that where you can go to and visit.
Yes, just this is not a question, right? It's just a comment. What is your question?
So my question is that if they don't emphasize meditation, then how do they get the peace that comes from the meditation, from realization that comes from the meditation that the material things are not important. You are not your body, and you can have that space that you want to go back and all that. That's the thing I'm saying.
If they don't meditate, then they don't get it. That's all. It's like if you don't dive into the water, you want to see the corals. If you want to see the corals, you have to dive into the water and see the coral. You don't see the coral from above the water.
So are they, I mean, if I may say, are they then wasting their time? Or is it not my place to judge?
Well, it's the business, really. If they don't ask you, then you don't say anything, or don't criticize or anything. It's not our business to criticize other people.
Yeah, I want to know it in my heart, Ajahn, that is probably not the best way to approach the what we want to do, right? That's what you're saying. I know it in my own personal heart and pursue a path that I need to follow, instead of course, not confronting them and telling them, because that's not your place. I'm not a teacher. That's not the point at all, right? So
that's right. Unless they ask for your advice, then you can tell them. But if they don't, then it's better to leave them alone, because they might get angry at you, or they might want to retaliate and argue with you, and so it's pointless. Yeah. It's like someone who knows the way, talking to a blind person, and if the blind person doesn't want to listen to you, what's the point of talking to that person?
thank you, Ajahn.
Is that all?
That's all. Thank you.
Okay. Your question tend to be a little bit outside of your practice.
Yeah, yes, that is correct. Because right now I'm actually, as you guessed it rightly, more so that I'm distracted with family problems. So they are kind of persistent and nagging, and so it's very difficult for me to pull myself out. So I kind of analyze these things instead of doing the actual sitting, because there is so much anxiety in the background in my mind. It's very difficult to do anything other than walking meditation. I do, but that's about it. Sitting is almost like impossible.
I know that's part of the problem with householder, people living in a family. You cannot do the practice properly. So maybe you should take a sabbatical from the family, go stay in a monastery somewhere for a month or something like that. And maybe this will also give them the opportunity to see what life is like without you. I don't know, maybe they might miss you, or maybe they don't miss you. I don't know.
But either way. Thank you.
But it's both on your part. Yeah, if you can separate yourself from the rest of your family, even though for temporarily, you'll notice the difference, I think, and you might appreciate it more and want to do more afterwards. I think you should also reflect that sooner or later, this separation will be permanent. So why clinging to something that's going to happen? And besides, what you're clinging to are just they are illusion, but you don't see it that way. You see them as real people, real. But if you look in the long-term context, they're not real, right? They rise and cease. All our body, yeah. We arise and we came, and then one day we'll be gone from the face of the surface of this earth. So we're not really real. We're just temporarily real, but not permanently real. So if you can look at it this way, it might be easier for you to separate yourself from them. Unless they depend on your presence for their survival, then maybe that's another story. But
that is actually the part of the current situation, really, that as a parent I need to be around to look after the child because of the issues. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you have to accept your situation and do what you can.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Okay. Next, Gok Seng from Singapore.
Thank you, Ajahn. I have no questions tonight. Thank you, Ajahn.
Okay. How about Bruce Lee? Do you have any question, Bruce Lee?
Evening, Ajahn. No question tonight, Ajahn. Thank you, Ajahn.
You're from Medan or from Jakarta?
I'm from Tangerang. It's the west side of Jakarta. 20 kilometers.
West of Jakarta.
Yeah, west of Jakarta.
All right, good. Next, Philip and Adeline from Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur.
Good evening, Ajahn. I don't have any questions tonight.
Okay. Anuraji from New Zealand. Any question from you?
Yes. Hi, Ajahn. How are you? Yes, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
Yeah. Ajahn, you have mentioned that if a person wants to meditate in a forest, then he must have a strong mindfulness. And in one of the suttas, the Buddha instructed a monk, I think Upali, to develop 4 jhanas before going to a forest to meditate. I would like to know from you the reason for it. So.
Because if you have mindfulness and jhana, you will be able to control your emotion when they arise. Although might not got rid of them, at least you will calm your mind down and calm your emotion, like such as fear. When you should come face to face with something that causes you to have extreme fear. If you have strong mindfulness or jhana, if you have jhana, it means you can stop your mind, stop your emotion. But if you haven't got any jhana, it means your mindfulness is not strong enough to stop your emotion when they arise. So it might take a while before you can stop them.
Yeah.
So this is more for those who want in an advanced stage, those who have samadhi and wants to develop vipassana, like the contemplation of death, for instance. Sometimes you need something to really strike you that death is imminent. Then that's when you will want to use the Dhamma to teach your mind to let go of your body by seeing it as impermanent, as not being a self, not yourself. And by clinging to it will cause you dukkha or suffering. So you need something to instigate your fear. If you live in a safe environment, there will be nothing to instigate your fear. Your imagination isn't good enough. So sometimes you might have to come face to face with the real thing. So monks all go into the forest for this particular reason. But if you haven't got any jhana or strong mindfulness yet, as soon as you might not be able to go because your mind will keep telling you don't go, But just thinking about the fear, the thing that can happen to you might already stop you on your track before you even start thinking of going. But if you are confident that you can control your mind and that you want to prove to yourself that you really see the body as anicca, as subjected to death, as being not yourself, then you want to go. So you know it for yourself when you come to this point, whether you're ready or not.
Is it because of the forests, because of the animals, or it's spirits, or any other ghost, or there's some kind of influence? Or?
Well, it depends on the kind of forest you go in.
Right.
Maybe safe forest. If you go into wild jungle, like in Thailand, they have sort of uninhabited people living in the jungle. Area between the border of Burma and Laos or Cambodia, for instance. And that's a really wild place with lots of wild animals.
Right. Okay.
So you have to try to develop as much mindfulness as possible first, and be able to sit and then stop your mind from thinking, stop it from creating any emotions, and remain calm and have equanimity. Then you know that if you want to develop wisdom, then you need to have something to test your mind. But for some other thing, you might not need to go to the forest. If you want to test your mind, whether you can let go of your attachment to painful feeling or not, you can do this by sitting for many hours and don't get up. And teach your mind that the painful feeling is something that you cannot control. It's anatta. It's not you. The one who is experiencing this is the body, but you are not the body. You're the mind, the one who knows, the one who thinks. Then you might be able to separate yourself from the body and from the painful feeling of the body. And accept the painful feeling, not being disturbed by the painful feeling when it arises. This you don't need to go into the forest. But if you're afraid of ghosts, afraid of death by whatever means, then you might need to go to places that can cause you to have that feeling of fear. Okay?
Okay, understood.
So right now, for most of you, I think you should try to
Yeah.
Develop as much mindfulness as possible.
Yeah. True.
And meditate until your mind can become calm. But if you find it difficult, then maybe going to a safe forest might help you. Where there's no wild animals, but you have a quiet surrounding, you have seclusion. This can enable you to develop mindfulness and meditate for calm. You also need to have the time to do it. If you're still working, if you're still dealing with other stuff, and you won't have the time to continuously develop mindfulness from the time you get up to the time you go to sleep. Because you have to use your mind in dealing with your work and people. So you have to think. So this is I think the hindrance of lay people. People, they have engagement with people and things. So they have to use their thoughts, which you don't want to. If you want to have jhana, you want to calm your mind. You want to stop thinking. You see the problem with lay people when they meditate and they don't succeed in meditation.
That's true.
That's why people became monks, became nuns, became ordained, because then they will have the time to develop mindfulness and have the appropriate surrounding to support their meditation practice. But you can be a temporary ordainee by going to stay in a temple for retreat, 1 week, 2 weeks retreat, or whatever the time you have allowed. I mean, this not as a group retreat, but an individual retreat. Group retreat are those who just doesn't know what to do, how to meditate or how to do anything. Then they might have to attend a group meeting first to learn the basic. But once you know the basic and you know that you have to have mindfulness and the seclusion, then you want to go on an individual retreat.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yen So from Penang.
Ajahn, good evening. I have no questions today, Ajahn.
Okay. Phai Lim from Malaysia also.
Yes, good day to you, Ajahn. I have no question today. Thank you.
Belinda from Singapore.
Ajahn, no question for now.
Okay. Gary from Singapore also.
Good evening, Ajahn. There will be no questions for me tonight. Thank you.
All right. Kenneth from Switzerland. Are you still teaching? Are you still teaching, or is the college is now on holiday?
Yeah, the teaching is finished. We have 2 weeks of exams, and then I'm free. So I'm planning to go for a month on a silent practice retreat. Yeah.
In Switzerland, or you have to go somewhere?
Yeah, local. Yeah.
Okay. This is a Theravada forest tradition monastery.
Actually, this time I'm going to a monastery where it's a Christian-based monastery, but they have a good system for individual practice. So it's silent. You're not allowed to talk. There's no work. Meals are provided, so the focus is on practice all the time. So it's
seclusion, solitude.
Yeah, it's very quiet.
Very good. No group meeting, no activities.
Actually, there's maybe 5 or 6 people, but we're not talking to each other. There's no communication allowed, and no internet, no phones allowed. So it's really offline.
Good. Yeah. Okay.
So,
and you can do your own practice. You don't have to practice what they tell you to do.
Yeah, one of the conditions is that you already know how to be on your own.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I meant when I told Anura just now.
Yeah.
You just want to have a place and the time to develop your mindfulness and meditation.
Yeah.
Okay. You have any question today?
Yes, Ajahn, I was very interested last week in the discussion. There was a discussion about Vipawa Tanha on one hand and on Nipita on the other side. Because at the moment there's a situation where, connected to my work, where I feel a lot of aversion, a lot of Vipawa Tanha coming up in relation to some things. I can see there's a person who behaves in a way that I don't like. I don't want him to be like that. I want him to be truthful and so on. And this gets the mind very, very stirred up on the one hand. But when I look at it and reflect on it, I can see on the other hand that actually there's quite a strong element in me now of dispassion. I mean, I don't actually feel the passion to go in there and fight this person. I just see that it's not worth it. It's a waste of time and energy. So I kind of feel I'm kind of fighting between these two things, the defilements that bring up these feelings of Vipawa Tanha and the Dhamma, which is just showing me this is just not worth it. So it feels like a struggle between these two sides. So I just wanted to ask Ajahn if you could maybe comment on that.
Actually, it's not. There is real dispassion. When you see it's pointless or useless to interact with this person, then you just don't really interact with that person. But if you have to meet that person, you should meet that person. If you have aversion, then this is Vipawa Tanha. But you have to accept the reality in life that sometimes you have to live with other people, whether you like them or not, whether you see it pointless or not. But if you have to live with them, you just have to teach your mind to do so without aversion. You should use metta in that case. Try to radiate metta, friendliness. Your friends, and you might be colleagues, or you might be doing something together. So you want to use metta in this case when you have to deal with people you don't like, or you see it pointless. But if you have to maybe just say hello or how are you and so forth, and then try to disengage as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Or when you start to interact and you find it pointless, then you should stop.
Yeah.
So they are not in contradiction when you truly see it with wisdom, not with aversion. Sometimes you say, "Oh, it's pointless." Maybe it's just an excuse for you to avoid this person. If you see wisdom, then there is no aversion for this person. So if you have to interact with this person, you can do so, without any aversion for this person. If you have aversion, it means it's not true dispassion. It's still based on aversion.
Yes.
See what I mean? The difference?
Yeah, I can see that. At the moment, I can't always avoid it, and I do see the aversion. So the idea of metta is a good one.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good enough.
Yes, thank you very much, Ajahn. Thank you.
Okay. This thing like we're in Thailand, we have a saying that sometimes the teeth bite the tongue, but you cannot get rid of the teeth because you need to have the teeth and you need to have the tongue. So you just have to learn to coexist.
Okay. Very good.
You have to coexist with people you don't like or you find it pointless to associate. But sometimes you just have to coexist with them.
Yeah.
And so the best way to deal with people is to have metta or compassion or karuna or mudita, whichever the case may be. Okay.
Okay, Ajahn, thank you.
All right. Jolin Tay from Singapore.
Good evening, Ajahn. No questions today. Thank you.
Okay. Claudia Swiner or Swiner, can you say it correctly for me?
Good afternoon from Germany, Tanachan. Claudia Zwiener.
Swiner. Okay.
Zwiener, yeah. I have no question today, but a remark. What I realize is that your teachings, no matter if it's the teaching of the book I translate or when I remember what we talked here on Zoom, so whenever I'm in a situation I don't like and whenever I feel anxiety, meanwhile your teachings pop up in my mind and it helps me a lot. So I feel that my anxiety is, it's a good help against my anxiety. So I realize that your teachings become more and more a program in my mind. And this is very helpful.
Yes, by doing the translation, you're actually contemplating the Dhamma teaching at the same time.
Yeah. And what I also do is when I'm not able to be here on the conference, I watch the video when I can take time. So it's very good for me and it's very helpful.
Okay. But you should also try to do practice as much as possible also.
Yeah. Yeah.
Both of these go hand in hand, learning and practicing.
Yes, so usually I meditate twice a day before I go to work and before I go to sleep. And on weekends, I try to meditate without an alarm clock. So when I have to go to work, of course I need an alarm clock, but when I'm at home at the weekend, I try to meditate without a time limit.
Good. Okay. So you have no question now, maybe later.
Yes, maybe. Thank you very much.
Alvin Lee from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia.
Good evening, Tanajan. Tanajan, just to reconfirm, when we read about the heart and the mind, it's referring to the same thing, right, Tanajan?
That's right. We refer to the non-physical part of us. We have the physical and the non-physical. The one who knows, the one who thinks. It has many terminology. It depends on who or religion. Sometimes it's called the soul, sometimes it's called the spirit, sometimes it's called the mind, sometimes it's called the heart. But these are all the same thing, referring to the non-physical part of us. The mental part, the spiritual part.
Okay. And the soul, yeah, in some religion they refer it as the soul, right?
Yeah, the soul, the spirit. But as far as I'm concerned, I think they're talking about the same thing.
Okay.
This is the one that doesn't die with the body. And it's the master of the body. The mind, the one thing is the master of the body. Because before the body can do anything, it has to listen to the command from the mind, which is the thinking. You have to think that you're gonna join the meeting tonight. So once you think that you tell the body to get ready for the meeting. So it's always the thinking that's the master of the body, of the physical action and the verbal action. But these two will separate one day at the time of the death of the body, or temporarily at the time of sleep. When you sleep, the mind, the one is temporarily detached from the body. It doesn't use the body to do anything. Okay.
Okay, thanks, Tanajan.
Alfredo from Brazil. Are you from Sao Paulo?
But yes, São Paulo, Cotia, Brazil.
Okay. So how are
Near
you?
I'm good, thanks. Near has 2 or 3 temples Mahayana near here, Zulai, and Tibetan temple too. I don't go there, but have. Yes, I work there in past.
What about Theravada? Any Theravada temple nearby?
No. Theravada only Ricardo Sasaki in Minas Gerais, Belo Horizonte, Nalanda temple.
Is that where the Venerable Mudito stays?
No. Ajahn Mudito is in São Lourenço. He has a temple now. He's two Theravadas in Brazil. The group of Ajahn Mudito, Casa de Dharma in São Paulo, they have friends, and other group is Nalanda group by Ricardo Sasaki. Ricardo Sasaki is my first teacher, Ricardo Sasaki. Very good teacher. He's Ajahn Buddhadasa, his inspiration, Ricardo Sasaki.
Okay.
And Ricardo Sasaki goes to Thailand several times, and he has a Tintin. he has a good friend. I know stood more for Nalanda from Ricardo Sasaki because I goes to Ajahn Mudito in Casa de Dharma. Agora, now I get off Ajahn Mudito, I know Theravada's teaching, né? Teachings. Bante, yesterday I was reading a test of you, and I important point. I agree with you. You commented, you mentioned that a comparison of Pekka for jhana without jhana, with sat normal after jhana, and the comparison I think is very good. For many years I think it's important, that comparison, but now I not have so important the comparison. It's the same of you imagine the swimming and we real swimming is very different, né, Bante? Only imagining for jhana or upeka is different. You really practice, né, Bante?
Yes, imagination and reality are two different things.
Different things. Yes.
What we're talking right now are more imagination than reality.
Yes.
Reality is when somebody punches you in the face. That's reality. Then you can feel dukkha coming up right away.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I very important point to me, because for many years I good imagination, but imagination is not so good. Imagination is good, but your sati is better. But it's not completely, né, Bante? It's not full teachings.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Nice talking to you.
Thanks, Bante.
V. Ravin from Chinnaporn from Bangkok.
Good evening to you, Thanajan. I have one question today regarding my meditation practice. So I've noticed that whenever I meditate and I'm able to achieve enough calm, I'm able to stay in concentration for quite some time. And I realized that after a while, I start to feel pain in my legs. So sometimes the pain will grow gradually up to a point where my mind will withdraw from samadhi. So I've tried to do two things. The first thing is that I would get up, maybe move around, change posture, and come back and sit back down and continue to meditate again. And the second thing I've done is I would just observe and contemplate on the pain. So I would try to see if I could withstand it without, focusing whether I could try not to move, try to see how much I can withstand the pain. And I found one interesting observation is that suddenly it just disappeared, the pain. And I was a bit surprised, how can the pain disappear? But so my question is, whenever I feel a lot of pain, should I move, get up and sit down and start meditating again? Or should I sit through the pain and try to observe it and try to contemplate on it?
If you don't want the pain to take control of you, then you should not move. If you want to rise above your pain, not let the pain you don't want to decide to tell you what to do, then you just have to learn to teach your mind to learn to live with the pain somehow. Either by contemplating the impermanent nature of the pain or anatta nature of the pain. Or you can use mindfulness just to stop your mind from reacting to the pain by reciting a mantra. So these are the two methods, the method of mindfulness and the method of vipassana. Because so that in real lifetime when you get sick and you have painful feeling that you cannot run away from, then you will not be hurt by the painful feeling because you will know how to deal with the painful feeling. So it's up to you. If you get up, it means you lose. You run away or you try to get rid of the pain, which is something that you should not do. Because one day you're going to meet the pain that you cannot get rid of, then what would you do? So if you know how to deal with the pain without getting rid of the pain, and should the pain disappear by itself, that's okay. If it doesn't disappear, that's okay also. So long as your mind is not being moved, influenced by the pain, not being disturbed by the painful feeling. Your mind can remain calm and have equanimity. Then you will never have to worry about getting sick, getting painful feeling in your life anymore once you know how to deal with this painful feeling. But if you keep running away, you will still have to keep running away. That's most people do. They run away by physically removing themselves. If they can, then they use painkillers to run away from them. And then they become addicted to painkillers. And so this is not a way to deal with the painful feeling. The way to deal with it is come face to face with it and teach your mind to either ignore it or accept it.
Yes, that's why I tried two methods. I tried to sit through it and try to see, if I'm sick, I can't make the pain go away. I might as well pretend that, this is some sort of sickness of the body. Maybe I should see if I can live with it. So is that the way?
That's right. That's what you want to do. Once you can deal with the painful feeling, then you will not be afraid of any kind of sickness. Because sickness can only create painful feeling for you. So this is one part of your practice. The other part is the death practice. The death of the body that still can disturb you, can disturb your mind. So once you can overcome these two obstacles, then your mind will be free from any form of suffering dealing with the body.
Okay, so then next time I meditate and I get painful in the legs or anywhere, I should just observe it and don't move and try and stay calm as long as possible.
Yes, sometimes by observing it can cause your mind to be disturbed. Sometimes maybe it's better not to observe and just to ignore and concentrate on doing something else to get your mind away from the pain. Because your defilement still wants to create this desire to run away from the pain or wishing for the pain to disappear. If you observe the pain, and then this will make you have dukkha in the mind to the point where you cannot remain sitting in the same position. So if you want to use mindfulness like such a mantra, this will pull your mind away from the pain, and therefore it also will then stop the mind from creating this desire to get rid of the pain. And the mind will become calm and not disturbed by the pain. But if you want to observe the pain, then you have to use vipassana. Ask yourself, what is this pain? Is it really that bad? Can I not deal with it? I'm dealing with it now. Why can I not continue to deal with it? By looking at it that it is anatta. It's something that I cannot control. It's like part of my life, part of the body. This painful feeling. As long as you have this body, you're going to have this painful feeling sooner or later. And if you don't know how to deal with this painful feeling, coexist with it, then you have to keep running away. And when you cannot run away, then you become frustrated. So you can teach your mind to eventually accept the painful feeling instead of denying it or wanting to get rid of it. Just accept it. Just like accepting the weather. You accept the rain, you accept the wind. Why cannot you? It's the same thing. These are all natural phenomena which you cannot control.
So we have to see the pain as not as anatta, which means if we see something as not ourself, we would not be bothered by any changes that it causes.
You should see it as a natural phenomenon that we cannot control. You cannot stop the rain from raining when it rains. So you cannot stop the painful feeling to disappear. You cannot stop it from showing up. But you can learn to live with it, like you learn to live with the rain by accepting it.
Okay, Thanachan, that's very clear. Thank you very much for your advice.
Then your mind will be calm and not disturbed by the painful feeling.
All right, Thanachan, thank you so much. Thank you.
Next, Darren from Singapore.
Hi, Ajahn. I have no question today. Wishing Ajahn well and good health.
Okay, thank you. Horace Tom from Massachusetts, Boston.
Hi, Tanajan. Thank you for the meeting today. I have a question about my practice as well. So I know that Tanajan keeps teaching us to stick with your meditation object and not ignore everything else, just stick with your meditation object. So I try to remind myself that before every meditation, but then once the mind starts to get very calm and happy, then it forgets about that instruction, even though I told it, and then it tries to do some kind of trick. So should I just keep reminding myself, or is there anything else?
Well, as long as your mind is still active, you should not abandon your meditation object. Only when your mind becomes still, then you can abandon your meditation object.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a process of learning, not to keep on doing, and reminding. Then one day you might get into your head what you're supposed to do and not what you're not supposed to do.
Okay.
Learning by practice, I guess. Practice makes perfect.
Okay, so I'll just
Yeah, just keep trying, just keep doing, and every time you forget, then you say it's like learning how to walk. You might be able to walk for a few steps, then you fall down. So accept this is like learning how to walk. It's learning to focus on your meditation objects. It's like that. You can do it for a while, then you forget, and then your mind starts to drift and think about some other thing.
Yeah, usually it's not really thinking about some other thing, but it thinks that there must be some other way to enter into jhana by doing something else. So
But that's thinking about other things. Right?
Okay, yeah, true.
You should only think of your meditation object.
Okay, I'll just keep trying then. Thank you, Ajahn.
Okay. Just don't be discouraged. Don't give up.
Okay.
Takes time and patience. But if you keep persistent, if you have persistence in your practice, you will succeed one day.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Next, KUN Kun of Khan from Indonesia. How do you spell your name, Kun of Khan? KUN.
Yeah, Ajahn, I have no question today. Thank you.
Yeah. Next is Cindy and Monica.
Good evening, Ajahn. How are you
Any
today?
Any question today?
Okay. Actually, today I was thinking about this. This is a chanting on the meditation of the three characteristics. And one of it is that the panya is translated as insight wisdom. Is this the wisdom that we develop after we have equanimity?
No, it's after you have seen the truth. But when you have seen the truth of anicca, then this becomes wisdom.
Okay.
When you don't see it yet, it's still just imagination. Like you contemplate that your body will die one day. This is still imagination. But should you come across that, like you happen to be crossing the street, and then a car came from nowhere and just about to hit you and miss you by an inch, or something like that. And you might be able to see the real thing. And you can use that experience to teach your mind that this is what's going to happen to your body one day. Then this will become wisdom. Because wisdom is something you don't forget, but something you imagine you can forget. We're talking about anicca, dukkha, anatta many times, but then afterwards you forget. We still cling to things that are anicca, dukkha, anatta, because it's still imagination. But when you see the dukkha that arises from clinging to things that are anicca, anatta, then you will not forget, because the experience is more profound than your imagination.
Yeah, true.
So in order to get wisdom, you have to really experience the real thing, such as sick, painful feeling or death. And somehow you survive them.
It's true. Yeah, actually, during the recent sitting, I was thinking maybe I can apply on the pain. But this round, actually, I had a different challenge. The moment I start sitting, I wanted to swallow my saliva. So then I tell myself, okay, I'm going to hold on. So what I did was I hold on to the meditation object. And I think I managed to hold on for quite long. So I think it's good. Actually, I remember because Ajahn mentioned that, you must keep on holding to the meditation object, don't move. So I think thank you so much for that.
Okay. So sometimes, like Forrest said, you keep forgetting. after you want your meditation object for a while, your mind starts to drift and think about other things.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
if you're not
because
mindful, you won't know that you already have departed from your meditation object.
Yeah. But one thing, because the defilements are very persistent, the thoughts keep not wanting to come in. So I say, oh, no, I keep on holding. Just after a while, first wait. So I managed to delay for quite some time. Thank you so much. At least I can remember during my sitting.
I think you should thank yourself for being able to discover this truth.
Come again?
You should thank yourself for being able to discover this truth. Yes, this is wisdom. This is wisdom.
Okay. All right. Yes. Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay. Is that all?
Yes.
Okay. Next, Ivy from Indonesia. Ivy, make sure your children don't disturb us, okay, in the back.
Yeah, Ajahn. Yeah, Namo Buddhaya, Ajahn. Is my sound clear?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Ajahn, while I'm meditating, I keep on Buddha, trying to adjust the rhythm of Buddha and constant. To keep constant, don't change the rhythm. So after a while, I feel peaceful. And after I finish meditation, I feel satisfied, even though I know I have not reached samadhi. But some time to reach this this peaceful, I must take 2 hours to enter this condition. Is there a faster way? Not to be 2 hours until enter the peaceful condition.
Can you repeat your question again?
Every time I meditate, I always want to take 2 hours to enter the feeling of peaceful. Is there a faster way to get a peaceful feeling?
Yes,
Not until 2 hours. Too long. It's too long.
You can do it in 5 minutes if you have continuous mindfulness.
Only 5 minutes. But I always 2 hours.
Yeah, that's because your mindfulness is not continuous. It's like walking. You walk for 2 or 3 steps, then you fall down. Then you have to get up and walk 1 down 2 or 3 steps, then you fall down again. But if you have continuous mindfulness, it's like walking without falling down. So you get to the place you want to go quicker. If you don't fall down when you walk. Same way with mindfulness. If your mindfulness is continuous and you're not losing it, then you can calm your mind very quickly in 5 minutes.
But right now, I mostly feel my head getting deeper. What my ears like sinking during sitting meditation.
You should ignore everything. Just focus on your meditation object only.
Yeah. When I focus my object, I always feel that my head getting deeper, my ear like sinking.
Ignore everything.
Sometimes just walking. Sometimes I just walking with Buddha. I also feel this, even though I am not sitting meditation.
Just ignore everything. Just focus on what you do.
Okay, Ajahn.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Is that all?
Yeah.
Okay. Now let me go to Sulan Uy. Sulan Uy from Singapore.
Yeah, hello Ajahn. Yeah, thank you for arranging this session. Yeah, I think I just have one question. Yeah, sometimes I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah, then I'll open YouTube and all that. So, which I know is defilement. Yeah, but I just don't know what I should be doing.
You have to know first what you want. So if you want your mind to be peaceful, calm, and happy, then you want to train your mind with mindfulness. Train yourself with mindfulness. Stop thinking.
Okay. Yeah.
So you have to know what you want first. It's like when you go shopping, you know what you want, right? You don't go to a store and say you don't know what you want to buy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I need to know what I want.
Yeah. You want happiness, but you don't know how to get to the right kind of happiness. The kind of happiness that you've been getting is not the right happiness because it is temporary, it's impermanent. You get it, and then long before you know it, it disappears. So you want something that is lasting, that is permanent. Then you want the happiness within yourself, the happiness from meditation. Okay, that's the purpose of this meeting, is to teach you to discover the real happiness within yourself.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Okay, all right. Sri and Czech from Vancouver. Any question today?
Ajahn, I was just like you talked about importance of practice now, and when we have the human body, why can't we practice like in the spiritual? Like, what if we die, we can't practice anymore?
Well, you need a teacher to teach you, and so if you want human being, you can find teacher easier than when you are spiritual being. Because spiritual being, you need to have teacher who can connect with the spiritual being, which are not many compared to the teacher who can teach through the body. But there's only maybe 5% of meditation master who can connect to the spiritual being. The other 95 cannot connect. So it's harder to get access to a teacher. Secondly, when you don't have a body, you don't have problems to instigate you to do the practice. But with the body, then you have to constantly struggle to stay alive. And this will then cause you to practice more. It's only a spiritual being that is keen on practice that will go search for a spiritual teacher, a teacher who can connect with them spiritually. Like spiritual beings that go and listen to Dhamma talk from some of the meditation masters, Ajahn or the Buddha. But without these teachers, they won't be able to have someone to guide them through. You can practice, but you need to have someone to tell you what to do.
So Ajahn, if like Sotapan become like spiritual being, they will continue to practice then.
Once they become Sotapanna, the practice will become automatic. Like entering into the stream. The stream will then eventually lead you to Nibbana. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Ajahn, my questions regarding to the breath is like, do we have to focus at one point? Because like the breath.
Yes. If you want to make your mind still, you have to focus on one point. If you keep moving, then the mind is moving. It will not become still.
Okay. So not even observing like the beginning of the breath until the end of the breath or the in-breath and.
Or you can observe, but you don't move the point of what you observe.
So eventually my goal is to zoom in and focus at one point, like in and
That's
out.
right.
At that point.
That's at that point only.
Oh, okay. And that's the hardest to do.
What's so hard? Nothing, just watch.
Focus at one point, right? Okay.
Yeah. Like trying to put a needle, a thread into the needle. How do you do it?
Okay.
You have to be very focused, very still.
Yeah.
The hand has to be still. That's like meditation. In order to get into jhana, it's like putting the thread through the needle hole.
Okay.
You need concentration. Your mind, your hand has to be not shaking. If your hand is shaking, then you cannot do it.
So meaning in the beginning, like I can calm down my mind by like, following the breath, knowing the in breath, out breath. But eventually my goal is to focus at one point. If the mind is strong enough.
Just focus at the point where the breath comes into contact with the body, which is the nose, at the tip of the nose.
Yeah. But sometimes I try to focus like, but then it move around. Like
that's right, because your mind likes to move around and you don't have enough mindfulness to stop it from moving.
Okay.
That's why you have to keep forcing your mind to stay at one point, even long before you start your meditation practice. Like force it to keep reciting a mantra, or force it to stick with what your body is doing. Pay attention to what your body is doing only.
Yeah, okay.
So it takes patience and persistence to develop mindfulness.
Yeah, for these hours, like, this is what we're trying to do, that is to focus on one point.
Reading about it is easy, but once you start to practice, then you'll know how hard it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Tan Ajahn.
Right. Next, Darling from London. Darling, did you give some donation to the school?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We didn't know who.
Okay. I'm grateful to be able to donate. Thank you, Ajahn.
Thank you very much.
No question. Thank you.
Okay. Lillian from your daughter want to say something?
No, she said nothing.
Okay. Now let me go to Lillian from Bangkok. Malaysian living in Bangkok.
Good evening, Ajahn. Actually, I happen to be reading the biography of Long Puman now, and Sui and Chet was asking about it. But I'm just wondering, for spiritual beings, do they need to get reborn as well after they become spiritual beings?
Yes, eventually they'll take a human birth again when the condition for them arises. Now when they are spiritual being, they are reaping the fruits of their good or bad karma.
Oh, okay.
If they're reaping the good karma, they will be happy. Spiritual being we call devas or angels. If they are reaping the fruit of the bad karma, they will be anguished spiritual beings, suffering spiritual beings, either suffering through hunger or through fear or through hatred.
Okay.
Until these forces subside, then they will be ready to take up a human birth. But they have to wait because there's only so many human bodies that are created each. So they might have to take a while or they might have to go look for a body from a different planet.
But are they
So,
able to accumulate more good karma or bad karma while they are being
no. When you're spirit, you don't do any karma. You're reaping the fruit of your karma. It's like when you sleep, you're reaping the fruit of your karma through the dreams. When you have good dreams, you're reaping the good karma. If you have bad dreams, then you're reaping the fruit of your bad karma. This will be like that when you die. It's like sleeping and you'll be in a dream world until all the dreams disappear. Then you'll be ready to take up birth again, a human birth again.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have today.
Okay. Next is Tata from Indonesia.
Good evening, Tanajan. Today I don't have any question. Thank you.
Okay. Vince, you want to ask question or you're not? But probably not because you don't turn off. Okay, you're turning on your sound now.
Yes, Ajahn, can you hear me?
Yes, can you speak louder?
Of course. Can I understand what do people mean by watching the mind? Is it watching any movement in the emotions, or are we watching the defilements that arises?
Basically you want to watch your defilement because that's what you want to get rid of.
So the next question is, does even the knower mind or the awareness is impermanent, just come and go? So we are always reinstating the awareness, is that correct?
No, the awareness of things comes and go, like awareness of sound, images, this thing licenses. But knowing this thing doesn't. Knowing is always there.
Okay. So knowing is the stable thing that happens. That means knowing,
Without knowing, you won't know what you're talking about right now.
Right.
But what you talk comes and go. Your speeches come and go.
Okay.
But when you're watching your mind, you want to watch the one that cause you the mind suffering, cause the mind dukkha, which are your cravings or your desire or your hatred.
Right. Then we start to let go of all this defilement and restore the peace and calm that we have originally.
Right. The peace and calm that you had from your samadhi. Right.
And
then you'll make it permanent once you have destroyed all your defilements. Then this becomes nibbana.
Okay, understand. Ajahn, one more question is that recently I find sometimes the breath, I know it's good that we always remember the breath, but I find that sometimes it's small. I think it gets to know the breath better because you can recall the calm easily. Is that okay?
As long as you can calm your mind with it, it's okay. You want to keep the mind calm all the time. So whichever method you use is okay.
Understand. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Okay. I think that's all the people who has joined the room have asked the question. So I'll go to Facebook now. Is there any question from Facebook at this time?
Yes, there are 6 questions from Facebook, Ajahn. The first question from Aini Lam. Hi, Pra Ajahn. During the Lord Buddha's time, in a rain retreat, where a group of monks who took shelter by the river bank attained enlightenment by observing the phenomenon of the raindrops touching the surface of the water, which form bubble, disappear, and form again. Is this due to anicca or the science of cause and effects? Thank you.
Just seeing anicca in everything. Sabbe sankhara anicca. All formations are temporary. They come and go, like the bubbles formed by the water, the raindrops. And then after the bubble forms, then it breaks away. Our body is like a bubble. Our body one day will also disappear like bubble, disappear. Everything, whatever comes into this world will eventually will disappear or will change into something else.
Next question from Poliang Soon. Does the mind can take a rest or sleep,ท่านอาจารย์?
Yes, the mind take a rest in samadhi when the mind stops thinking. That's when the mind is resting.
Next question from Aini Lam. How does one enter the empty room at every sitting or at will, ท่านอาจารย์?
With mindfulness, with strong mindfulness. When you watch your breath, you just keep watching your breath only and not go elsewhere. Then you can enter the room very quickly.
Next question from George Lim Tian Boon. Dear Ajahn, what if we get eaten by the tiger while meditating in the forest? Our chance to practice the Dhamma in this life will be gone. Just accept it as karma.
It depends on how you die. If you die with wisdom, then you become a Sotapanna. So it's not in vain. Or maybe you can even become an Arahant if you can let go of everything besides the body. So some people attain to noble disciple level when they happen to come near death or dying. They can, like the Buddha's father, he became an Arahant 7 days before he died because he can see the truth of anicca manifesting itself. And he knows that his dukkha is caused by his attachment to the body. So when he let go of his attachment, then the dukkha disappears. So don't. Sometimes you need to have something like this to become a noble disciple. Because under normal circumstances, you don't see the truth. Like you don't see your body as gonna die. You think, oh, there's something very far away. But who knows? It can die any day, any time. You have to have something to happen to you, then it will really make you see the truth. If you somehow come into a near-death situation, then you will see that the truth of anicca is really real. Right now, it's not real to you because it's so far away. It's still in your imagination only. It doesn't come knocking at your door yet. But when death comes knocking on your door, then you say, oh, this is real.
Next question from CYA. Dear Ajahn, while meditating, sometimes I get mosquito bite. Sometimes I kill them. Sometimes I drive them away. Sometimes I let them bite. I feel letting them bite is the best option and going back to the breath. Expecting your advice, ท่านอาจารย์.
Yes, that's the best way. Don't kill the mosquito because you're breaking the precept.
Last question.
Okay.
Last question from George Lim Tian Boon. Dear Ajahn, if we can communicate with beings or devas from the heavenly realms, what language will they converse in? Like when the deva come to Ajahn Man for Dhamma teaching, in what language do they communicate in?
They use mental language. When you dream, do you know which language you dream in? You don't. Yeah, it's mental. Mental proceed the other languages. When you think, you don't think in English or in Thai or you think mentally. And then it's translated into the language you use. Okay, that's all. Anybody else would like to ask any question? We have our first round now. This is the second round. If anybody likes to ask questions, please raise your hand and unmute your microphone.
Yeah,
Okay, Evie.
yeah. Ajahn, nowadays there is COVID news everywhere. Right? So I don't know how to explain correctly about this anxiety is happening right now. Because my mother-in-law is very agitating about this news circulating about the death of some of her friend or family due to this COVID. So I said, yeah, it's just a body. What dies is the body, not the soul of the person. This body is just flesh and bone, susceptible to disease. I also said that COVID is not completely bad. COVID teach us many things, such as maintaining the cleanliness and opening our eyes that wealth cannot treat COVID. Many rich people die because COVID. Wealth becomes worthless when faced with COVID. Rich and poor become the same. All arrogance is meaningless right now because we don't know tomorrow we will get the COVID or not. So I think COVID is quite good in terms of teaching human. But she got angry to me, Ajahn. My mother-in-law said, you crazy, ah? And she not accept my explanation. And she said, you don't explain this to people outside, they will scold you. So what the proper explanation for this, Ajahn?
The proper explanation is for you to keep quiet.
Because I see her everything was so agitated about who is dying.
Because she's saying you're crazy. So the more you try to explain, the more crazy you become to her.
She's like, you
So
crazy.
it's time for you to shut up.
Okay, Ajahn, okay. So and when I meditate, I can only stay no moving in one half hours. I always lose, Ajahn. I always straighten my legs and go back to lotus again. And the time always in 1.5 hours. How can I know lose again? I do this because something always trigger to do this is boring. I always feel boring when I do in 1.5 hours. Actually, my leg no pain. I no feel the heart is pain, but I always straighten my leg. How can I not lose again like this, Ajahn?
You have to train more mindfulness. See, the mindfulness is not strong enough to stop the mind to move your body, to stretch your leg.
Yeah.
So
it's the boring. It's the boring.
Yeah.
I know it's the boring.
So try to train more in mindfulness, and then the boring will disappear.
Yeah, Ajahn, okay.
All right. Next, anybody else would like to ask any question? Nobody? Okay, Alfredo.
Hey, Bante, in my question, we studied that mana comparation is a height level in Buddhism, né? Is a arahant level. The Samyojanas Tegrillion is 8 grillion. It's difficult level, né, Bante? We know have comparations.
Operation? What?
Yes. Imagination, comparison with other, comparison in Dhamma is high level. is Arahant level, né? Is mana.
You need, from the first level, you need to contemplation. You have to, for first, second, third, and fourth level, you need to have wisdom contemplation, insight contemplation. But there are different objects. With the first level of Sotapanna, contemplate on the impermanent and no self nature of the body. On the second and third level, you contemplate on the asubha nature of the body. And on the fourth level, you contemplate on the impermanent nature of the mind itself, or the emotion, or the Dhamma objects, the mental objects in the mind. So these are different objects of contemplation that you have to contemplate or study to teach your mind the truth and then leave them alone. Right now, the mind likes to manage this thing. The mind likes to manage the body. The mind likes to manage the body of other people, the beautiful body of other people. And the mind wants to manage the mind, the feeling, the mental feeling or emotion. This is what keeping the mind restless and agitated and not peaceful and calm. So you have to use the three characteristics as the tool of contemplation with these objects.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, I think he's a high level contemplation, but is the practice, né, Bante? You have to try, né?
Yes, you have to first have jhana.
Dhamma's contemplation is very difficult contemplation, né?
You have to have strong jhana in order to be able to keep contemplating.
Yes.
If not, then your defilement will stop you from contemplating these things and wants you to contemplate about sensual objects instead.
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks.
Anybody else?
We have another question from Facebook.
There's one question from Facebook from Jimmy Ong. Ajahn, when in meditation, do we let our mind to decide to come out of the meditation or set the timer to come out of the meditation? Thank you.
Well, ideally you should let the mind be the one to decide, not the timer. But if you live in a world in which you have engagement and you have things you have to do, then you might need a timer to pull you out of your meditation. But ideally, during the time of the Buddha, there was no timer. So they meditate for as long as possible. Because meditating is like digging gold, you know. You don't want to stop digging gold, right? You want to keep digging until you became exhausted and no longer have the strength to dig before you stop. Okay. So if you don't have no need to go do anything, then don't set the timer. Set your mindfulness. Your mindfulness is something you should set, not your timer. If you have mindfulness, then you will succeed in your meditation. Without mindfulness, even if you have the timer, you will not succeed in your meditation because your mind will keep thinking about the time. When will this timer ring? You know? So instead of paying attention to your breath, you just keep paying attention to your timer. When will be the time? When will the time is up? When can I get up and so forth? So you will not succeed in meditation if you use the timer. Okay. Anybody?
I see Saja call.
Saja Khan?
Yeah, Saja call.
I'm going to tell you one small experience that I have had recently and which I have not seen in my whole life, that somebody is calling and abusive on the phone and one remarkable thing where I'm kind of verbally being attacked, and so the person is calling, abusing verbally, and then hanging up. And I noticed one thing, that maybe temporarily my mindfulness was strong or not, I do not know, but I kept on listening, the person hanging up and calling again, like 5 times. Then 6th time, actually, I called back and engaged the person again without even talking, so that the person can keep on talking. And actually, after like 5th or 6th time, there was like a change in the other person's thing, not completely moving away from the topic, but what I actually noticed, that as if I'm kind of asking for it, that the other person can lay it, like open up and the thing without interfering. And previously it was like myself will jump out to say that this is not quite correct, and kind of then everything kind of becomes an altercation and a fight. Here in this case, this singularly, I saw that it is possible that just to be there and not react and just kind of take it in. Just I have never seen that personally, that it was possible to do, but I see that it is possible. It is possible. And I think probably, I personally think that's kind of very beneficial, really, probably. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Yes, this is the power of equanimity. Just not reacting to what you hear. Just let the person let out his steam. Once the steam is over, then he'll stop. But if you keep arguing, then you keep stroking the steam to continue on. So just let the person let out the steam, or it's like a scratch, a mental scratch. He has to keep scratching. After you finish with the scratching, then he'll stop.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Alvin Lee.
Ajahn, a couple of weeks ago, I asked you about the path that we have to take, which is Sila, Samadhi, and Panya. Developing, my understanding is developing Samadhi, then eventually Vipassana, then we will get this Panya. But somebody actually pointed me to this Anguttara Nikaya AN 4.170 Yuganada Sutta. In the Sutta, Venerable Ananda actually said that there is a case where a monk has developed insight preceded by tranquility. As he developed insight preceded by tranquility, the path is born. He follows the path, develops it, pursues it. As he follows the path, developing it and pursuing it, his fetters are abandoned, his obsession destroyed. Then his Venerable Ananda continued, there is in the case where a monk has developed tranquility preceded by insight. As he develops tranquility preceded by insight, the path is born. So it can be the other way around, Ajahn?
On an exceptional basis, not generally speaking. Some people are really good in contemplation. We can use contemplation as a tool of calming his mind.
Right. Okay. So the normal path would be Sila, Samadhi, and Panya.
Yes, right. That's the one the Ajahn Mahamudra talked about. Wisdom develops samadhi.
Right. Okay,
wisdom
Samadhi.
To calm the mind, using wisdom to calm the mind. And then once the mind is calm, then use another wisdom to gain enlightenment.
Oh, okay. Wisdom. So it's wisdom develop your samadhi. So it's the other way around.
Yes, for someone who can use wisdom to calm the mind.
I see. And then, but that would be very rare, right?
That's right. Not in the general case. Generally, people, it's easier to use mindfulness to tame the mind, to calm the mind than using wisdom.
Okay, thank you. Very good, thank you.
But you can try using contemplate on Anicca, Dukkha, Anatta and see if you can calm your mind or not. But you have to know the object of your contemplation. the object that's causing you to be restless and agitated. Such that when you get angry with someone and you cannot force your mind to become calm with mindfulness, then you might have to contemplate on the nature of the person that is causing you this hatred, this anger. See, you can let go and then calm your mind that way. You have to look at the person as anatta, like a natural phenomenon. You cannot force that person to do or say the things you wants him or her to do. And or you cannot stop him or her to do whatever him or her wants to do. Then you can say this thing, then you might accept this person for what he or she is, and then can eliminate the anger that arises from the desire to force this person to do what you want him or her to do. So this is using Anicca, Dukkha, Anatta to teach the mind to let go of this object of anger. Then your mind can become calm. But if you want to become attainment, you have to contemplate on the fetters, which is a different thing.
Okay. So in this sense, once your mind is calm, you can go into samadhi from there as well after contemplation.
Once you have equanimity, then you can move forward and tackle the 10 fetters.
Right.
Okay.
Thanks.
Another question from Facebook.
One more question from George Lim Tian Boon. Dear Ajahn, when you talk to us lay people, it is like talking to mad people. We are all so deluded and full of ourselves. When lay people talk to lay people, it is like mad people talking to mad people. Thank you.
Okay. I have no comment. I don't want to.
Claudia.
Okay, Claudia, Serena.
Yes, I have a remark about, because this was very interesting for me, what you said about calming the mind by contemplation, Thanachan. So what I realize is when I contemplate about your words, when I'm in a situation that is causing me anxiety or worries, or maybe also anger, and I contemplate about the translation or what you say, and I find out that there is no way out of the situation but getting a calm mind. This is very helpful for me. So to me, I can calm the mind with contemplation.
Yes, it depends. It depends on how strong the intensity of your restlessness is also. Sometimes if you don't have enough wisdom, you might not be able to calm your mind all the time.
Not all the time, yeah.
Not with different objects that cause your mind to be restless and agitated. Like when you have to deal with sickness, chronic sickness, like cancer or something like that. Do you think you can use wisdom to calm the mind?
So I'm not in this situation now.
That's
but
right.
what I think is if I would be very sick and I would read your book and read your words and contemplate about your words, I think it would calm my mind to a level where I can start to have a better meditation. But of course, I'm not in this situation now. This is just my imagination. Of course, I don't know.
That's what I mean. See, we have many different situations. So some of them we haven't yet met them in real time. So we don't know whether we can use wisdom to calm the mind or not. If we can use wisdom to calm the mind under every situation, then you don't need samadhi. Can we use wisdom to let go of your fetters, for instance, the 10 fetters? of enlightenment. If you can get rid of your fetters by contemplation, then you don't need samadhi.
I need to find out because I don't dare to say it for sure.
That's right.
Yeah. What I can say is some years ago we had a fire in our home. So we had fire alert and we had to escape. And in this moment when we had to escape, I was completely calm. I did lead the complete family out of the smoke. But this was only one situation. But sometimes I also find myself in situation where I'm very nervous and where I have a lot anxiety. So I can't say it for sure.
That's right. Once your mind starts to become abnormal, then you have to use contemplation to bring it back to normal.
Yeah.
Being calm and not emotional.
Yeah.
Not excited, just calm, just as if nothing is happening. You can either use mindfulness or you can use wisdom, either way. If you know how to use wisdom, then you can solve your problem permanently.
Yeah. Oh, it's not stopped permanently yet, so I still need a lot of practice, of course.
And besides, there are many other different situations. So they have to be viewed separately. You might be able to deal with this situation, but there might be another situation that you haven't dealt with yet. So what you need to do is just keep watching your mind. As soon as your mind is becoming abnormal, it means you have problems to solve.
Yeah.
And your solution is using the wisdom contemplation if you can.
Yeah, I will try. But of course, I also want to meditate because I like to meditate too. So can I try both ways?
Yes, meditation also can make you feel calm, peaceful.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you very much, Thanajan.
All right.
Thank you.
Sweet. Check.
Ajahn, is the contemplation of dukkha, anicca, anatta different from contemplation of the fetters?
Of what?
The fetters. The 10 fetters.
The 10 fetters.
Yeah.
You use the three characteristics of existence to tackle the 10 fetters. Like the body, the five khandha. You use the anicca and anatta, dukkha, anatta. Contemplate them, the five khandha is anicca, dukkha, anatta. So that the mind let go of its attachment to the five khandha. And whatever happens with the khandha will not disturb the mind, because the mind can accept any form of any changes happening to the five khandha. And the other fetters, like the sexual desire, is caused by not seeing the impermanent nature of the body. The body is like flower; it blooms and then it blooms. It's beautiful today, and tomorrow it can become old and disgusting. So we sometimes have to look ahead of time to the time when the body turns old or becomes a corpse, and it no longer can be the object of the sexual desire. So this is a way of countering the sexual desire. You have to see the opposite of what caused the sexual desire to arise. So this is also anicca. The body changed from beautiful to ugly. You can look inside the body. The body has both sides, the good-looking side and the bad-looking side. But the good-looking side is hiding the bad-looking side of the body. So you have to use contemplation to bring out the bad-looking side of the body. by going under the skin, looking under the skin of the body. So this is still anicca, consider anicca. Nothing lasts forever. No beauty lasts forever. So you either use anicca or anatta in order to tackle the 10 fetters. Or dukkha, or sometimes you can use dukkha. You can see the object can cause you dukkha. Once you can, then you will then stop clinging to them. But right now, the first object is your body that you have to tackle with. Look at your body as impermanent. Look at the feeling that arising from the body is also impermanent, changing, and not under your control. You cannot make the body always give you the pleasant feeling. Right? Sometimes it gives you bad feeling, painful feeling. So you have to learn to let go and accept whatever feeling that the body generates for you. Sometimes the body generates pleasant feelings, sometimes it generates unpleasant feelings. If you have no desire, then there will be no dukkha in your mind. If you have no desire for the feeling to be good, only good feeling, then when that good feeling disappears, you won't have any desire to bring it back. And when you have no desire to bring back the good feeling, then there is no dukkha in the mind. But if you have desire for the good feeling to come back, when it's gone, then you have dukkha. Like you use something or someone that gives you good feeling, you want it back. And if you cannot get it back, then you get dukkha. But you know, if you look at the truth that you cannot bring it back anymore, then you stop your desire for that thing or that person. And when you have no desire to bring that person or thing back, then there will be no dukkha. Okay, this is how you want to use the three characteristics of existence to teach your mind. You see that everything will give you dukkha because they keep changing. They're not there all the time for you. When the time you need them and they're not there, then what you get is dukkha. And you cannot force them to be there for you all the time either, because they are anatta. They're not under your control. But with the illusion, you want to control everything, right? You want to control the thing to provide us with happiness all the time. You want to control your house, make sure that you always have a happy house. But when you get flood, or when your house get fire, got burned down, then dukkha come back. Dukkha come right away. Because you don't see that it's anicca, it's anatta, you cannot always force your heart to give you happiness. So once you see everything as anicca, anatta, and dukkha, then you don't want to rely on them. You don't want to depend on them to make you happy. So your desire for them will then disappear. Craving for them will disappear. And when you have no craving, you have peace of mind instead. You have contentment, which is better than the happiness you get from your craving or your desire. Okay.
So Ajahn, we don't contemplate on the other one, like Silabhata Paramasa. We don't contemplate on that one. Like, it's more on the
once you see the Four Noble Truths, once you see the dukkha arise from your craving, then you don't need to do this Silabhata Paramasa. You just, because the problem is not in in the economy or in the business, in the people or anything like that. These things, they are impermanent, they rise and cease. Sometimes you have good economy, sometimes you have bad economy. So people don't understand that they want to have good economy. So when they have bad economy, they go look for something to make the economy good. Maybe pray to the God, offer sacrifice to the God to make the economy good. But if you see that the reason for your unhappiness arising from your desire to have the economy good all the time. But when you see with wisdom that the economy is anicca, anatta, you cannot force it to be good all the time. And you know that your unhappiness arises from your desire to force the economy. So you stop, that's all. And stop the desire and accept whatever happens, let it happen. When your mind has no dukkha, then your mind is happy. Once you're happy, then there's no need to have anything to make you happy. You don't have to have good economy to make you happy. You can be happy with bad economy. You can be happy with being poor. What makes you unhappy is not the economy, being rich or poor. It's your desire to have something that you cannot get that makes you unhappy. So a rich man can be unhappy. A poor man can be unhappy also, if they still have this desire to have something to make them happy. But if you don't have any desire to have anything to make you happy, then you can be poor and still be happy. So Asotapanna see the problem is with the craving that causing unhappiness, not the economy, not the things around, things that are happening in this world. Everything happening in this world, they keep changing, they rise and cease, and you cannot force them to go according to the way you want them to go. So you just leave them alone. Just look after your mind. Make sure that there is no dukkha in your mind, which is caused by your craving. That's all. So you don't need to do any ritual to make your mind happy. People go to fortune teller and do some rituals, and then they feel good, they feel happy. Oh, but this is just a deception, really. It's not the real happiness. Because you can become unhappy a few days later on again, or maybe a few hours when you run into something else that doesn't please you. But with a Sotapanna, he knows that every time he's unhappy, it's caused by his desire, by his craving, not understanding the nature of things as being anicca, dukkha, anatta. Does this answer your question more or less?
So good, Ajahn. So beneficial. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Sulan, you want to ask a question? Sulan?
Yeah, thank you, Ajahn. Yeah, just now, I heard that you mentioned that I can just leave the mind. I mean, leave it alone. Yeah, just take care of your mind. So if let's say, like the mind still don't know what you want, then just leave it alone and take care of the mind.
Yes, what about it?
Yeah. So the main thing is to take care of the mind, is it?
That's right. Take care of the mind, not to have it being afflicted with dukkha or stress or unhappiness. By understanding that the stress or this unhappiness is caused by the craving or the desire to have things according to what you want it to be. because things don't always be cannot always be what you want it to be. Sometimes they change. So you don't want to have any cravings for anything to make you happy. When you have no cravings, then there is no unhappiness, no stress. And when there's no stress, then happiness, the true happiness arises.
Okay. Yeah.
So all you have to do is get rid of your stress, get rid of your anxiety, your worry. And then when all these things happen, disappear, then your mind become calm, peaceful, and happy of itself. It doesn't need to have anything to make it happy. All you need to do is just get rid of the suffering in the mind caused by your craving to desire. You don't have to go to look for anything to make you happy, because nothing in this world can give you permanent happiness. Whatever you get one day, it will turn into unhappiness, because everything you get will one day change or disappear. So you don't want to look for happiness from this thing. You want to look for happiness by getting rid of your unhappiness, getting rid of your dukkha. So you need a tool of sila, samadhi, and panya to do this. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Ajahn.
Okay. Anybody else?
Thank you.
No more questions today. I think that's about time then. Oh, Evie again. Okay, Evie. One last question from you.
Yeah, Ajahn. Ajahn, last week I asked Ajahn, can the ghost disturb us? And Ajahn said, no, it cannot. All right. So it happens to me about 2 days ago. When I walking meditation, I just buto. When I want to U-turn my body, I see a shadow wearing a white clothes. I don't know he or she, but he passed behind me very fast. So I just feel, oh, maybe I wrong. I see wrong. So I went to U-turn again, and this ghost is passed away for twice behind me very fast. I don't know he or she, but I know she wearing a white clothes. So I just think, okay, if you are ghost, that is your karma. And I will sharing merit for you after a meditation. So I thinking, why human can generate merit when meditating? We just sit and focus on the one object. Why can something like this can produce merit, Ajahn?
Meditation can produce merit?
Yeah.
Merit means happiness. When you meditate, you become happy. That's merit.
So when we can create merit and they can receive, is it only when we enter the calmness? All right, Ajahn. So sometimes we cannot enter the calmness. That doesn't produce merit.
No merit yet. That's why it's easier to produce merit by giving dana. When you give money, you feel happy, then that's merit already. So for lay people, Buddha teach for lay people to dedicate merit is by giving to dana, giving to charity. Because when you give to charity, you feel happy.
So when we meditate, sometimes I can feel the calmness and peaceful. Sometimes I feel happy. That can produce merit, all right. But sometimes that is just like a blank, nothing. feel no happy or no calmness, that is just like no produce merit, Ajahn. Is that right?
Yes, if you're not happy yet, then there's no merit yet.
Yeah, because something I see, I don't know if that is real ghost or not. But something like somebody passed very fast behind me or front of me, but I just Buddha, and don't think that it is ghost or something. I just ignore. Is that kind being like a beggar for our merit?
You have to ask them, don't ask me. When you run into them, ask them, you want merit? If you want, I'll give you some merit. You don't even know if they are ghosts or not. Maybe it's just something your mind just happened to create.
Yeah, I don't know. Am I cheating now by my mind?
Your mind is a magician, you know. It can create a lot of things and fool you, deceive you.
Okay, Ajahn. Okay, Ajahn. I was Buddha. I just Buddha.
If they are real ghosts, you should be able to talk to them and ask them where you come from, what do you want.
Meditation.
Then whatever, meditation, not meditation, whenever you think you see a ghost, you should be able to talk to them. If you cannot talk to them, then they are not ghosts. They are imagery created by your mind.
But I have one experience that when I'm meditating, that is Nonita appears, that is the man sitting.
You should talk to them. You should talk to them.
I talked to him.
What did he say?
Crying.
What does he say?
He's crying, and so I asked him, "Why are you crying?" She said, "I don't have friend. I feel alone. I don't have friend. I want to find some friend." And I said, "Yeah, you can find some friend, but I am not your friend, all right? You just you don't crying like this. I want to meditation. You don't disturb me." So he disappears. So is my mind create or but I didn't think about that. He is just appeared like this.
Just forget about it. Just forget about it. It's useless. It's useless.
Okay.
It doesn't contribute to your practice.
Yeah. Okay, Ajahn.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, I think maybe that's about it for today. It's about 2 hours and 3 minutes. 4 minutes into the meeting. Thank you very much for your participation. I hope some of the things that you heard today might be useful and some might be not. So you just have to choose for yourself. Yeah. Just take what is useful and forget about things that is not useful. Okay, because I cannot control the flow of the conversation. Things come and they just happen. And just you have to be smart enough to decide which is good and which is not good, useful for you. All right, thank you very much. Nice to see you all. Hope you are well and stay well and happy and mindful and keep on practicing. And I will see you again next week if all goes well. Thank you and goodbye.
สาธุเจ้าค่ะ
ท่านอาจารย์
ท่านอาจารย์
Thank you everyone.
Goodbye. Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye, Ajahn.
Thank you.